Hey there, welcome to another edition of Glen Talks, where we talk all things in the world of business and the local community. We offer inclusive insights and exclusive experiences. Today's guest is the founder and president of a remarkable organization doing amazing things in the local community. Loretta Hibbs with the City Dream Center is welcome today. Thank you so much for joining us. Our paths have crossed so many times over the years, but I really would love to hear a little bit more about you and your passion for your advocacy that really launched into starting the City Dream Center. So can you share a little bit about yourself?
Yes, I've been married for almost 43 years, and I have 4 kids and 10 grandkids. And so about 30 years ago, when my kids were really little, a friend of mine went to the Los Angeles Dream Center, and she interned there for a year, and we supported her and we'd visit her. And so before I'd take our kids to Disneyland, we'd go to the Los Angeles Dream Center and we'd serve there. So my kids would hand out candy to the kids and they loved it. And I just wanted them to see that not every child gets to go to Disneyland, but they're still happy and we can make a difference. And so they actually really love that. So over the years, I've gone to the Los Angeles Dream Center many times. And then I worked at a church, and one day, this is probably 10 years ago now, our pastor said, "You're out of women's ministry, you're into community. I want you to answer this question. If we were to close our doors tomorrow, would anybody in the community notice?" And I was like, because we had nothing going on in the community. And I thought, I don't know. I said, maybe we can adopt a classroom, or maybe we could paint a classroom, or raise money for, a playground or something. So I made an appointment with the superintendent of the school board in Surrey. And I just said, hey, we want to adopt a school, and she's like, well, you can't adopt one school. You have to adopt a district, which is 4 schools, because the need is so big. And I thought, the need is so big. I don't understand that. So I met with the 4 principals, and I found out that there was kids going to bed hungry on weekends, that they didn't have proper shoes or winter clothes or coats, or I left there an absolute wreck, because here I'm thinking we live in such an affluent country. And then I find out there's kids going to bed hungry 10 minutes from where I live. And so we started the Adopt a School program. And we found out there was 32 inner city schools in Surrey alone. And so that's kind of how I started, was because my job got switched. And then 7 years ago, I came off staff there, and I'm now working full-time for City Dream Center. I'm the founder and president of City Dream Center. And I still go to LA. A lot of the stuff that we do is similar to what they do. But when they opened 30 years ago, the crime rate went down 75% in that area. That's how much of an impact they had in the community. And so right now, Dream Center works with 6,000 kids a year. We have 6 staff, and we have 640 volunteers, active volunteers in a year. We could never do it without our volunteers. Our goal is 10% staff and 90% volunteer, because when you have all the volunteers come in, you get buy-in, right? Then they see the needs, they see the people, and they want to give and be part of that. And so it started out of just something very innocent when I was little, or when my kids were little, taking them to the Dream Center. Now all my kids are involved, and my grandkids are involved in City Dream Center here. And so I'm excited to see the impact that we're going to have as we move forward. But right now, we've been able to impact a lot of people.
And are there a lot of different Dream Centers in a larger network, or is it kind of individualized?
We are actually part of the Los Angeles Dream Center network. In North America, there's over 250 Dream Centers. They're all different. So some will just focus on recovery. Some will just focus on food bank. So they're all different. Ours is quite different from the Los Angeles Dream Center. They run an Adopt a Block program. We run an Adopt a School program. We really felt like an Adopt a Block program won't work, where a group of people go into the community, they knock on doors and say, can we come and, clean your house or do whatever. I thought, there's no way conservative Canadians are going to want you to knock on their door and walk in their house. It's never going to happen. And so that's why we started the Adopt a School program, is because we thought this way you still work with the children and the adults and the teenagers, but you work with them in an environment where they feel safe, and we can still impact them in a great way.
Amazing. So can you share a little bit more about the mission and vision and how it's kind of evolved from where it started to where it is today?
Yeah, it's been pretty incredible to see where we are today than when we first started. So right now we work in both federal and provincial prisons, and with those in recovery, we run courses of boundaries, a anger management course, and a parenting course. We've graduated hundreds of women and men from this course. The courts have now recognized a certificate because it's come before them so many times that many of them have been able to get supervised visitation with their kids once they complete the course, which has been a huge, huge part of what we do. We also have a dental bus. So I remember years ago when we first started this, I said to a dentist couple in our church, I was like, I want a dental bus. They're like, well, you got to be willing to pay, $500,000. I said, no, that's not going to work. So about 7 years ago, we sold our house. My poor husband, he's just been on this journey with me. We sold our house and we found out that there was 2 dental buses actually in Alberta. And one had 15,000 kilometers, the other had 20,000 kilometers. And we had just done our back to school event and we had handed out 1,000 backpacks and we had 1,000 people there. It was just crazy. It was a busy, busy day. And the next day we flew out to Alberta and we bought these 2 dental trucks and they had given them to us for $92,000 plus tax. It was a supernatural deal. They had put $750,000 worth of equipment into those buses. It has 3 dental ops. The chairs of the dentist that you'd see in a dental office, you see in these dental buses. They're 40 foot long. They were pretty much brand new when we got them. And he wanted to give them to a charity. And so we were the ones that were able to get them. So we had just sold our house. So I said to my husband, we're going to invest in these dental buses. I said, don't worry, worst case scenario, there's 6 chairs. We can live in the dental bus.
the chairs recline. Yeah.
The chairs recline. He's like, okay. I had nobody to run it. I didn't have a clue what I was doing, but I knew I couldn't let this opportunity go by. So 5 days later, first I called these people and I said, you wouldn't believe what we just did. We just bought these dental buses. They're like, I know exactly who you need to speak to. 5 days later, we're sitting in the living room of this couple. He's a dentist. She's a pharmaceutical doctor. They had really been wanting to do local missions. They had been doing missions dentistry all over the world, but wanted to do something local. Anyway, they've now become our directors. They were crying. We were crying. They've now become our directors of City Care Dental, which is under City Dream Center. And last year, we were able to give almost $100,000 of free dentistry into the community. So we're not about pulling teeth. They're about giving people smiles back. And many, many people, after a week of getting their smiles back, you see people missing teeth. It's really hard for them to find a job. Well, they give their smile back and fix their smile. And many have been able to, within a week, get a full-time job. It's been really incredible. So.
Oh, just those real feel-good moments. And every night when you put your head down, you just know you're making such a supreme difference in people's lives. I
can't believe what I get to do. Yeah. I can't believe it when I get up in the morning, what I get to do. It's pretty impactful.
So when you feel a little bit of that calling and it's pulling on your heartstring and so do you feel that this is your big calling for your life?
Well, I'm 61. It better be. I've always had a heart for the down outers or the hurting. I grew up in a really broken home. And in my teenage years, I was going through a really tough time. And there was one lady that mentored me. And she just saw me and cared. And I remember I fought her. She'd say, do you want to go for lunch? I'm like, nope, I want nothing to do with you. And she just kept pursuing me. And anyway, she really, really changed the trajectory of my life. Like, she impacted me so greatly. And so when Dave and I got married, we took a young teenager that found herself pregnant into our home and we mentored her. And so I've always had a heart for young women and just to be able to help them. So this is kind of like in my core. This is who I am. Like when I go into the prisons and with the women, I'm like, you guys, like, if I can do it, you can do it. Just the one step. Like, I love sharing hope to people who have no hope and just seeing their eyes light up and go, okay, if you can do it, I can do it. Like, it's just the one step. And it's actually been incredible to watch because it's everything in me to just help those people that feel invisible, feel visible again.
So those are the moments that make it all worthwhile. But what are some of the challenges and the hurdles that you need to overcome that you're dealing with today?
I was thinking about that, like what are some of our hurdles? And, it's been pretty amazing to watch. Like we had MLAs come to our office. We have the premier. I've met with the mayor. I've met with the city council members. I've met with so many of the, like Surrey School Board. They call us now. Do you have another organization that can adopt one of these needy schools? Like, so I feel like we have found such favor over the years because like even when we go into federal and provincial prison, they say that our organization, when we come in, it's not us against them. Like a lot of people will come in and they'll go, the inmates will try to talk bad about staff and they'll go, yeah, I can't believe they did that to you. Well, we go, you know what? You need to talk to them and communicate them how you're feeling. You need to go to them. So we never undermine authority that's in place in the places that we go. And I think that's very rare sometimes. We try to work with the inmates, but we also try to work with the staff because we're in it all together to make it better for the people that are there. So I think the challenge would be is sometimes in sponsorship or fundraising. I'm a very big dreamer. I bought those dental buses not having a clue who was going to run it. And I remember through the pandemic, everything was shutting down. We had just got back from Los Angeles, my husband and I. We were having to quarantine. We have a place in Sunshine Coast. So we went straight from the airport to our place in the Sunshine Coast. And I was sitting on the porch and I had a fridge full of food, cupboards full of food, and I was scared. I'm watching the news. I'm going, what is happening to the world right now? Like we had no idea. That was the early stage of the pandemic. And I was sitting there and I thought, what about all those people that have nothing in their fridge? I can't imagine how scared these families are. So I said, we're going to do 1,000 hampers. So I called our staff and I said, we're doing 1,000 hampers. They're like, how about 300? Nope. We're going to do 1,000 hampers, which is 2,000 bags of food. We had never done it before. And each one is $50 a hamper, which is $50,000. Within 5 days of saying we were going to do those hampers, somebody paid the first bill of $50,000. For that year and a half, every 3 weeks, that bill was paid by an organization or by donors or by the Breakfast Club gave us money, grants. It just started to get out there that we were doing these meals. And in that year and a half, we had given 1.2 million meals into the community.
Amazing.
But what would have happened if we said no, and I just was afraid and sitting on my porch, we had people contacting us and saying, what are you doing? But we did it all right. You can have 50 people social. We did all the things we needed to do, but I thought, I cannot sit here in my comfortable house and think about those people that have nothing. And the most emotional thing was when we showed up to these townhouses that we would go to, the lineup was down the street, around the block. They were so appreciative. I was so emotional pulling in with our trucks because the families were just thanking us. And, it wasn't as much about the food as it was about we see you and we care, like the eye contact, and we're not going anywhere and we'll be here to support you through this really tough season. That's what broke the barrier and gave these families hope because a lot of them are shut-ins. We went to seniors, gave them hot meals. They had no visitors. And it touched their hearts so much. And so, so the challenge is I can dream big, but you need the finances to make that dream come to pass, right? Mm-hmm. Like right now we're gearing up for our back to school event. Well, we're giving away 1,700 backpacks with school supplies. We're expecting over 2,000 people, probably 2,500 people will be there, feeding all the people, free clothes for the kids, free shoes, Kid Zone, like DJ, like all this stuff that's going on, but it all costs money. And so everything we do it just believing that God's going to come through and that people are going to step up and sponsor a hamper or sponsor a backpack for $18 and, like the different things that we need. And I think that's probably my least favorite thing to do is fundraising, but it's important as a charity. Mm-hmm. It's very important. I just want to do and meet the needs. I don't want to have to be thinking about raising the finances to actually make this happen. But it's all part of it. It's part of the challenge. It's part of growing. It's part of meeting new people. And like I'm doing today, There's new people that are going to hear this that maybe have never heard of City Dream Center and want to get behind it, which is amazing.
So talking about that, feel free. We talk about partnerships then. So can you discuss some of the partnerships or the group work that you have formed, and what are some examples of some of those successful collaborations?
Oh, we've had such amazing companies that have come on board, like Lark Group, which is a building over. They actually did a rice drive for us. We needed rice for our hampers throughout the summer. So they brought a truckload of rice. Their staff all had this competition. They all brought all this rice, and they brought it to our warehouse, and their staff came and unloaded it. And every one of our families, like right now we're feeding 250 families throughout the summer because they don't have regular meals at school right now through the summer break. And so we needed 250 bags of rice. Well, they did a drive for us and they got the rice for us. Another one of the private schools, we wanted pancakes and syrup for these summer hampers. And so they brought 250 boxes of pancakes and syrup to be able to give to these families. So that's a real practical way that companies have been able to get on board. Starbucks brought all their managing staff and they helped assemble all the hampers and the bags of food, and they were all there working together. So I love that. We have Surrey Police that always come and volunteer, deliver hampers for us. And so partnership is super important. It's not just about donations, even though that's what helps us every day to do what we do. But it's also about them bringing their staff to be able to help and see it firsthand and meet the kids. At Christmas last year, we gave 2,600 gifts into the community, 7 of our inner city schools. Every child got a gift for Christmas. Well, we had almost 300 volunteers to put those together. We had a DJ, we had pizza, kids came, families came. We had this huge gym. They assembled the gifts, we wrapped the gifts, and the following week, we went to the schools and delivered it to every child. Dads were calling us saying that was the only gift their kids got for Christmas. Teachers were in tears. The principals were like, I can't believe you've done this. Like, the impact is so great. But the partnership of making that happen, we couldn't do it. That's why I say we have active 640 volunteers. It's probably gone quite a bit up this year because of our volunteers. We couldn't do it without it. How can 6 staff be able to do what we do? It's impossible. But we can do it with incredible volunteers. And so, some people just want to give financially, and we need those people. We need people that'll just say, you know what, let me sponsor your back to school event, for $30,000. What it costs, let me do that. And that just takes away all the pressure of the fundraising. And then we can just focus on getting everything ready for that day and welcoming the people for an amazing day to get them ready for back to school. So that's kind of both of it that we need, is people collecting rice, organizations, or the people that can donate and say, let me take on this project. And we will obviously advertise for them. We give a tax receipt. We're a charity. We can do all the things that are needed for people to be able to do that. But we need everybody to be able to accomplish what we're doing.
Many hands make light work, and It's phenomenal to see that there's so many different ways that any member of the community or if an organization can participate in your organization. So that's amazing. So you had actually gotten a shout out in Parliament as well from Mike Starchuk last year.
Believe it?
I know. But that was following a visit that you had gotten.
It's wild. We had the 7 MLAs contact us. Now, we have a little office in Cloverdale, okay? We have a little warehouse, a little office, not very big, but we love it. It's beautiful. And so we had them contact us and said, look, we have 7 MLAs that want to come and hear what you're doing at Dream Center. And I thought, okay, they're coming from Victoria, from New Westminster, from Chilliwack. They're coming from all over.
And 7's a pretty complete number of people as well.
Right? I know. And so I was like, I said, we're a small charity and organization. Oh, yeah. I'm like, okay. About 10 minutes before they arrive, we have all these black SUVs that show up in the parking lot. Well, we're in a warehouse, so we have neighbors everywhere. I'm thinking we're being raided. So they show up. All of a sudden, the RCMP comes out. They come into our building, and they're like, we have to secure the area. I was like, is there a bomb? Like, what's happening? They're like, the premier will be here in 10 minutes. I'm like, we didn't invite the premier. She goes, I'm just doing my job. So 10 minutes later, he shows up with an entourage of about 15 people. Now we've got a foyer that's about as big as this.
Yeah, you're maybe planning for 7. Yep.
And I was like, oh, what is happening right now? So we had our door open. People were hanging out of the door. Oh, it was just wild. And I had an audience with these amazing MLAs and the premier, and I could just share the Dream Center. They asked questions, and I was so blown away. There's a building that we're wanting in Surrey, and so I was able to share the dream with them and say, you know, the LA Dream Center, when they opened up, the crime rate came down 75%. I told them, I said, I promise you that when this building is opened under City Dream Center, you'll be proud to have it in your city. And I said, and when you walk into that building, you will be amazed at how beautiful it's going to be inside and out. And you're going to be proud to have it in the city. And I said, the crime rate, I believe, will go down significantly in our city and our nation because there's an answer. So I'll share this part with you quickly. We work with people that first go to pretrial, then they get sentenced to federal prison, which is 2 years plus a day. So it could be 4 years, 5 years, they could be lifers. And then from there, they could put into recovery home. And usually they're in recovery for a year. And in that year time, they get programs, they have food over their head, or food, they have shelter, they have everything that they need. So when you think about it, they've been in pretrial maybe a year, 2 years, then they go into federal for several years, then they go into recovery for a year, then they get put into a basement suite and all their programs stop and they have to get a job, and, you know, and some of the recovery homes help them with that transition. But their whole community for that last how many years is now over because it's prison, it's whatever. And 90% of them reoffend. And they don't reoffend by doing their crime. They reoffend by, if they're on parole, you can't go from New West to Burnaby without telling your parole officer. So they'll cross the barrier just so they'll get picked up again because they don't know how to make it outside of what they've known for all those years. The beautiful thing about the Dream Center is that when they take our residence program, whether it's 1 year, our second year Connect program, then they will always have a place to come. Our programs are all free. So our boundaries course, our parenting course, our anger management course, they can always come back and take the course again. If they're having a really hard day, their community is always there. They can come and work in the thrift store, come and wash windows, come and talk to one of our counselors. Their community never stops. And I think that's the key to success for some of these people that feel like they have to go back. The people waiting for them at the end of that are the people that got them there in trouble in the first place. It's very hard, and we've worked with so many. Right now, we don't have a residential program, but I really, really want to start one. And I know when we have the building that we want, we'll be able to do all the things that we want. But right now, it's a vicious cycle, and I know it's going to work, and I know that it's going to make an impact. And so I was able to share with these MLAs all this stuff. Yeah. And then one of the MLAs said, Mr. Premier, he said, I want you to know that when Loretta walked into my office 2 months ago, he said, I had the biggest smile on my face. He says, do you remember when we stood in front of the Vancouver hospital, we were breaking ground and I had a big smile? He said, that's the same smile I had when she walked in my office. And we need to get behind what she's doing. And it was like a drop the mic moment.
Oh, it gives you goosebumps.
A week later, he shows up in Parliament, speaks for 5 minutes about City Dream Center. So every other MLA heard about Dream Center in just those few moments. That's something only God can do.
Yeah.
I can't orchestrate that.
Touching.
You know, so
touching, and you just see it's lots of signs just coming from everywhere, and taking a little bit of that risk and the faith that things are going to solve themselves, or there will be a solve to that solution coming from growing out with your network is just amazing. What are some future goals and aspirations for City Dream Center? Thinking grandiose. Where would you like
about 12 years ago, I had a dream for this building that I've been looking at. I contacted the owner of the building and I said, I'd like this building. And I actually met with architects for the building. Every square inch of this building is accounted for. We have everything that I can imagine Dream Center to be in this building. It's 4 stories high, and it needs a lot of work, but the architects that we met with, they volunteered all their time to be part of it. The dream is to have this building that we will be able to do all the programs that we can do. We'll have job opportunities. We'll have a hair studio there. We'll have, I'd like to do an automobile shop, licensed shop, that we can train people how to work on cars. People donate their cars, we'll fix the cars, and we can donate them to single moms that are needing vehicles. We'll have our thrift store. We'll have a food bank idea where it'll look like a Save on Foods idea, but it'll be beautiful. People have carts, they can go and shop. It'll say, take one. People will be vetted, make sure that they actually need the food. And at the end, we'll count it and make sure they didn't take too much, but then we'll bag it for them. We're all about giving dignity to people that don't have any. I opened up a beautiful thrift store. That's the very first thing I did when I did the Dream Center. It's beautiful. We have lightly used or brand new stuff in that store. It smells good. It looks beautiful. When people walk in, they can't believe it's a thrift store. I did that because people that can't shop at a shopping mall, I wanted them to have the same experience, that when they walk into something, they can go, wow, this is so beautiful. That is my heart for the building that we're going to have, that people will walk in and go, I can't believe you did this for us. We'll have an area for one of the floors will be families that have been evicted from their home. We'll help them, in the year's time, we'll help them run our programs, write a resume, learn the language, whatever it is that they need to do. And then after that, we'll help them get an apartment. They'll have a job, because most people want to give back to society, but they don't know how. They need that start to be able to do it.
They have those stigmas and those barriers that other people place upon them as well.
Right. And so we want to help alleviate some of that. We also really want a youth center to help the emancipated youth, the youth that have aged out of foster care. When I was actually in one of the organizations on King George, this couple walked in, and they weren't together, but they were friends. And they looked pretty, I said, what are they doing here? Because it's a homeless shelter. I said, what are they doing here? And the director said to me, he said, they'll look a lot different in 2 months. And I left there, and he said, they've aged out of foster care. They have nowhere to go. And I was sick. I was like, oh my goodness. I cannot believe that these kids are just put on the street. They have nowhere to go. They can't afford rent. They don't have jobs, whatever it is. I met a guy in prison. We were talking about our parenting course. He had been in 14 foster homes. He was 28 years old. He started to cry. He said, I've got 4 children. I don't even know how to be a dad. He said, I've been in 14 foster homes and I'm abused in most of them. He said, where do I even start? These are the people we want to help, because they're just looking for somebody to come along and just say, you know what, you got this. We can help you.
Mm-hmm. So speaking then to some miracle moments, can you share some of those miracle moments that you've had along the way? You've shared a few already.
Well, I shared a few big ones because that 1,000 hamper thing was just incredible that we could sustain that for that long. And our dental buses was huge too. But yeah, I think the miracle moments are when I have an audience of these MLAs and premiers sitting in my office in this little place in Cloverdale. So I think, dream big. The sky's the limit, and just watch what God will do, because a lot of times people are nervous to step out, and because they don't have all their ducks in a row. I'm a risk taker. I'm not about, like, for me, I don't have to have all my ducks in a row before I step out. I'm like, if that's a great idea, let's just do it. See what happens. See what turns out. Let's do 1,000 hampers. We don't have $50,000, but hey, let's see what'll happen. And people came out of the woodwork. But what if we would have said no? What if I said no to the dental buses? We gave away $100,000 worth of free dentistry last year alone. Seniors and children that have never seen a dentist before. So there's this little boy, Martin. He was grade 2. We showed up at a dental bus at one of our elementary schools, and he had never seen a dentist. I've never seen rotten teeth like his. Half of his teeth were black. I've never seen rotten teeth like that ever. He had gone to a dentist, and the dentist had said, I'll pull all his teeth. The mom said, no, you're not pulling all his teeth, because that's all she could afford. So he came on our dental bus. They stopped the decay. They whitened his teeth because, his teeth are still going to fall out. But he was so embarrassed, he wouldn't even open his mouth to hardly talk. He would look down. He wouldn't look you in the eyes. So anyway, they gave his smile back. He had this beautiful white teeth. And every day after that, he went into his principal's office with a smile and says, look, I still have my smiles back. Those are the moments that are like, oh, I can't believe what we get to do. You know?
Amazing.
We had a Santa Claus that lost his job because he lost his front teeth. And he was scaring the kids. Within a week of us fixing his teeth and giving his smile back, he got his job back. And he's like, you know, that's something that he lives for, that he loves.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. So, message to people that are considering getting involved. How can organizations reach out to you? And I think individuals as well. I think you take donations for your thrift shop.
Yes,
And
we do.
where's that
Gently
located?
used. We're very picky. We take home decor stuff and we take clothes and shoes. But you know what? If you're not going to wear it, don't. If you wouldn't wear it, don't pass it to us because we're very picky of what we put in the store. Like I said, it's about bringing dignity. We don't heap everything on a table. They're hung up, they're sized, they're washed, they're clean. It's beautiful. So yes, we absolutely want donations for our thrift store. It's called For the Love of Thrifting. And they can go to our website, citydreamcenter.com. All the information is on there. If you want to volunteer at any of our events, anything that you want to be part of, just sign up on there. You can email us at hello@citydreamcenter.com and we can answer any emails. If you'd like to give to City Dream Center, just go to citydreamcenter.com and you can donate there if you want to donate monthly. We're definitely looking for more monthly partners because that's what helps sustains our monthly program. Like as the school starts, we do a weekend emergency feeding program. We do close to 200 families that we feed on a weekly basis. And that's like a family of 5. And so you might want to sponsor a family for $25 a week, you know, $100 sponsors a family for the month. You know, like there's ways like that, or you can sponsor our Christmas project. Our Christmas project alone is $50,000. We do hampers, hundreds of hampers at Christmas, 500 hampers, and they're 3 full bags of food, and they cost $100 for that. And so there's so many ways to get involved. That if you want to bring your staff and have them do a community day, volunteer, we would love that too. If you'd like me to come to your organization or to your church and share some of these stories and share Dream Center and the way they can get involved, I would love to do that too.
Awesome. Well, we're going to transition a little bit now. We have a little bit of a rapid fire round, so it's going to be, you know, a few questions and 1 word to 1 sentence answers. Just generally for us to kind of get to know you a little bit better. And
you know, I'm a processor, right? I'm not a reactor.
That's okay. There's a few of the guests have not followed the rules, so it's okay. It's totally fine.
Oh, you know, I'm not a rule follower, right? I told you that at the beginning.
That's totally fine.
Okay, here we go.
Well-behaved people seldom make history as well, right? So are you an early bird or a night owl?
I'm a night owl.
Night owl. Okay. What is your favorite restaurant to do business at?
Do business?
To do like have a lunch meeting or to do business, to have a meeting.
Oh man, does it have to be local or can it be all around the world?
All around the world.
Italy.
Perfect.
Any Italian restaurant. I actually love Italian food. I'm Hungarian, but I love Italian food. But that's more than a 1-word answer, so I'll be quiet.
No, that's okay. Favorite vacation spot in BC?
In BC?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I guess it would have to be Sunshine Coast.
Okay.
I've not been to Nova Scotia, Quebec, much. I've not been there.
Yeah.
I want to go though.
One day. It'll happen when you go global. Hidden secret talent that people might not know that you have.
Well, I can't sing. Wow, what talent do I have? I could say what I did have. I could play 5 instruments. I could play an E-flat horn, a French horn, a trumpet, and 1 more, drums.
That's cool. Favorite band?
Favorite band? Oh, man. I don't really have a favorite.
Favorite genre of music?
Well, I like elevation Christian music. It's a lot of what Maverick, like that kind of stuff is what I listen to.
Yeah, I saw Hillsong when they came, and then also Parachute Band was kind of neat too when they had come into town.
Parachute Band, that goes way back.
Way back, I know.
But yeah, I love Parachute. I love Hillsong, United, all that. That's the kind of music I like.
Cool. Favorite comfort food?
favorite comfort food, it would have to be dessert. It would have to be cake, cookies, chocolate.
Last
So it's
book,
not really food, but
yeah. Last book that you read.
last book I read, the Bible.
Every night?
Every day.
Yep.
I read a great book by Bob Goff, but I'm trying to figure out trying to remember the name of it, but it was really inspirational. He's the type of guy that just tells stories. He's the author, Bob Goff, and he just tells stories throughout his whole book, and they're inspiring, just like some of the stories I shared, but he's a whole book on it. And by the end of the book, you're like, I can do anything, It's really good, yeah.
If you could have dinner with anybody tomorrow night, who would it be?
Oh, man. It would probably be Joyce Meyer.
Why?
She's very inspirational. She's gone through a lot in her life. And I love that she gets to share her story around the world. And I think a lot of some of the things she's gone through, I've gone through. So I really admire her for pushing through and accomplishing what she's been able to accomplish.
Awesome. And best piece of advice anyone's ever given you?
Stay the course. Don't quit. I mean, many times I wanted to quit in life, but I had people in my life that says, you know what, you can take the one more step. You can take the one step. It's going to be okay. So don't quit. Keep going.
Amazing. Thank you so much for joining us. We have a nice little parting gift for you as well.
Wow. Is there chocolate in there?
There may be. I do see some chocolate packages.
Wow.
So
this is awesome.
there's a nice little tumbler there for you, so you
Wow.
can have it with you on the Sunshine Coast and keep your drinks nice and hot and cold.
Wow.
And
What's got my name on it?
yeah, we're just so appreciative of you and all the work that you do for the local community. And you are a mountain of a person, and I'm so blessed to be able to have a chance to sit down with you and have a chat. And
Oh, thank you for having me. It's
Yeah.
a real honor to be here.
thank you.
So, thank you so much.
Awesome. Well, that's all we have for today's show. Thanks again, Loretta, for joining us. Tune in next time for more inclusive insights and exclusive experiences on Glen Talks. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.